Hello, it's Wednesday, June 4th, back out here in the shop. And, well, where else would I be if I'm working on furniture? I don't make it in the living room, although there were times when I had some things in the living room that Eileen put up with. But anyway, back out here in the shop on this Wednesday, June the 4th. Today we're going to talk about my fabrication of the desktop parts of the music stands. Did some research, and apparently that is what it's called. It's called the desk. That's the part of the music stand that holds the music. So that's what I'm calling it, the desktop. I'm going to show you today the progress I've made so far and some of the order of operation. Order of operation for these parts is particularly important. I won't go through each one and tell you why I have to do this first before I do that. But it is a important thing that you don't work too far ahead, because then you can kind of paint yourself into a corner with construction and finish and that sort of thing. And I kind of want to avoid that. So that's the first minute, just telling you the intro here. So what I've got so far over here are two desktops that are partially glued up, partially fabricated. And I'll tell you a little bit about how that's done. If you're a woodworker, you can tell that I'm using the Festool domino that creates these holes in each corresponding board where you want the domino joinery. This creates a loose tenon joinery, and there's a corresponding hole then on these boards where they join together. At this point, I have decided through my order of operations that it's best to glue these 5 pieces. Technically, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I've laid them out, I've glued them together, and that's what I've got so far on these two. The ultimate design is going to be similar to this desktop, which you may have seen in previous videos. In this case, I've got 2 panels that are, in this case, veneered with Sapele plywood. And you can see they're not glued in at all. They just pop out. But in this one, I created this recess that comes around like this. And this is the shape and the form for that particular design. And they fit in there. And when it's all said and done, I want to use this. I'll glue those in there, again, at the appropriate time. Now, technically with this one, these are still sitting a little proud of this surface. And if I want it flat, I'm going to have to set my router up again and dig this rabbet out a little bit more. But that's the way these are designed to function. Now over here, I've got one that's a little further along. These 3 music stands are going to have panels set inside of them with passages from the Bible. 2 of them will have passages from the book of Matthew, better known as the passage better known as the Beatitudes. And that's the one that's set up here. Now, this one's the furthest along. You can see I've already got somewhat of my aged finish on it, but I'll talk about that again in just a moment. I start these by designing the layout, and in this case, here's the other panel that's going to be from the 10 Commandments in the book of Exodus. So this would be the left panel. That's the first 4 commandments. This is printed off the last 6. That would go on the right side. So when I get these printed off, I then spray adhesive onto a piece of plywood. Now here back we're with the passage from the Gospel of Matthew. So here's another Beatitudes panel. So these are being glued onto here right now. And once those are glued on, then I will start to trim them to size, which I have done over here on this one. This is the one, again, that's the furthest along. So you can see that I've now gotten these 2 panels to the size that I want, and I've got them centered. So I make sure there's a centering mark here, and when it's centered, I have to start to then shave off a little bit on each side until this centering mark meets that centered mark, and it fits nicely into the rabbited groove. That rabbited groove is made by using this router with this bearing that follows on the inside. The woodworkers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's the machine that creates this little recessed groove. Now I'm to the point on this particular one where I have the cutouts, but they're still rectangular. So I don't yet have the arc cut out, and here's where order of operation is really important. I can't glue this piece to here until I get this arc cut out, but I can't get that arc cut out until I'm very sure that the rest of the panel is fitting nicely. So this has to fit tight down here, has to be centered, and then it has to fit along the grooves well. And I've gotten each one of these to that point. So now I've marked an arc along here for this one, and the arc here, which I think you can sort of see through there. So the next thing I'll do is I will take apart this glue up. Again, these are all glued together, the lower section. I will then cut out this arc and sand it smoothly and sneak up on it until this whole panel fits nicely in there. Once it fits in, I'm going to have to lower the router or raise it, as the case may be, and keep taking out more of the groove until these fit nice and flush. But that's somewhat the way these music stand desks are being constructed. So thanks for following along, and in another few days I'll have another update.